What's up, everyone? Welcome to Point Taken, episode 35. My name is Alex Marnay. Joining me is Andrew.
Hey Alex, thanks for having me in video form.
In Twitch. And then Tyler.
Yo, I don't know what to do with the
Don't,
video.
don't worry
Hi.
about
You know.
it. Yeah, so this is our first video form Point Taken. This is our 35th episode. So we're going to join the rest of everyone, be a little bit of a video form. We're going to separate this, so break this up to segments. Each week you'll see a little bit of the podcast. The show usually airs, or usually a new show pops up every Friday, but we decided to make it for people who want to catch the show first. Have the show on Wednesday when we actually record it. Surprise, we're 2 days late when we actually post it. So yeah. Andrew, do you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, we're just gonna ballpark and talk about some of the things we've been up to. One of the biggest games that both Tyler and I have been playing, the new release, Nioh, the newest game by Team Ninja. Character action game. Is that how you describe it, Tyler?
Yeah, third-person action game.
Yeah.
Character action.
Yeah. Again, to get people's foot in the door, I'll describe it as Samurai Bloodborne, but there's a lot more to it than that. But it feels very much like a Souls game in a sense that it feels very much like a Souls game in a sense that, like, you even collect souls. It's Amrita, or
Yeah, Amrita.
and stuff like that. So if you die, you drop it and you have to go back, and you get one chance to reclaim it. But it does a lot more than just Souls, and it's very heavy with mechanics. Tyler's played a little bit more of it than I have, so he can jump on and talk about his thoughts.
Yeah, what's interesting, the like Souls Bloodborne comparison, it's undeniable. Like, it kind of has to be brought up. And from that perspective, I think I kind of have an interesting view at the game, because I do not like the Bloodborne games at all. We've talked about this on Game of the Year podcast before. I think those games are bad, like actively bad.
Wrong, but it's fine.
And yeah, I actually really enjoy Nioh. I think a lot of it comes down to the combat. I'm a fan of Team Ninja's previous work. Well, really just the first two Ninja Gaiden games. 3 was bad, and then they did our live extreme volleyball.
They didn't do Yaiba Z, right?
No, I don't think so.
The zombie one.
I don't think so.
Okay, good, because that game was very, very bad.
But yeah, like I've enjoyed their past work, so like I know they know how to put together an action system that I enjoy playing. And that's really what carries me over here. The action's much more faster paced than like a Souls game, and it doesn't really prioritize animation over functionality, like I would say the Souls games do. Like, you don't have that lumbering character where one attack swing is like taking up 3 seconds and you're screwed if you don't dodge out of the way or whatever. And there's still like a certain amount of that in the game, but it's not as prevalent or heavy here. Yeah. And also, the one mechanic I really like is they basically cribbed the active reload from Gears of War into the game, and you press R1
called the key
whenever.
pulse.
Yeah, to regenerate your energy after you do a few blows, and like that is just really fun. And like I really wish more people were stealing the active reload mechanic, because it just makes like average combat like a lot more interesting and gives you something else
engaging.
To be doing on.
It keeps you engaged in, like, like Tyler says, it adds another level to the fights than just like square, run away and stuff like that. I like also that you can see the opponent's stamina bars, their key bars, so you can play that waiting game in a sense of, like, if somebody comes at you with like 4 or 5 swing barrage, they're out of key, and actually the game rewards you for attacking at that moment, because there's certain animations that you can do where you can just go up and do like a pretty good animation, which I like a lot. Mechanically, one of the other things we haven't talked about yet is the stance system. So there's technically 4 stances, but 3 main ones, high, medium, and low. And there's trade-offs for each. High, you do more damage, but it takes a larger amount of ki, which is your stamina. Medium, you do medium damage and takes about the same. And low, you're more agile, and it takes up less amount of ki, but you do less damage. So it's a good trade-off balance, and the game, interestingly enough, sets skill trees based off of those stances. So not only do you have a sword skill tree, you're learning different techniques dependent on your stances. So if you're in medium sword, your parry will be different than if you're in low dual swords and stuff like that. So it's very interesting, and there's a lot to that part of the game.
Yeah, it gets very complex. Like, even after spending like 60 hours with the game, I still struggle to remember some of the combos I have. Like, I have this thing where I can put my sword away and then slash. I think it's like a high stance and then R1 and circle. Like, you got the amount of buttons you have to do to put out like a single input is a bit much at times.
It is very interesting. Tyler brings up a great point. Is unlike other games, there's a complete menu actually where you set what skills you want for those button prompts. So instead of getting a new ability, in a sense, you're getting the same ability for R1 and circle. So if Tyler's R1 and circle is that one where it just comes out and slices you, like my R1 and circle might be something completely different, and it's dependent, and there's actually a little menu where you can go in and switch every single command dependent on those things. So R1 and triangle, R1 and square, like what does this do for your character? Because not only are there parries, but there's like 4 or 5 different types of parries. So when you parry in medium sword stance, what's your character gonna do? So it's very, very heavy in that way. And unfortunately, and I don't know if Tyler agrees with me, but one of my main complaints about the game is the menus could have been a little bit better, in a sense that like the equipment stuff's not bad, but this is a loot game is another thing we didn't mention. A lot of loot is going to be dropped in this game. There's a rarity system and everything. So siphoning through your loot gets a little wonky. And the skill trees could have been laid out a little bit better. Because
I agree. I definitely, and I also think an issue is just communication with the game. Well, I don't think it's as like purposefully vague as like a Souls game is. Because, like, when you're leveling up, it tells you directly. You see stats. You know exactly what everything's going to. But, like, they still don't communicate stuff super well. Like, there's these other players' souls get brought into your game called Revenants. Oh, yeah. And, like, they barely tell you anything about it. Like, I've looked through the tutorial stuff you get, and, like, they're barely touched upon. But, like, you can gain valuable stuff there. And I didn't learn, I think you can get the cups you use to summon other players from those battles. Although I've killed a bunch of those and I don't remember getting many cups. But, like, you can apparently grind them out that way.
You also get glory, whatever that is. I'm not nearly as far as Tyler.
So, you don't learn about, like, what glory does until, like, 30 hours into the game. Like, it's...
That's crazy.
Like, the length of that game and the amount of stuff you have to do is kind of insane. And that's kind of my main issue with it. It feels like a grind, like you're slogging through it.
Like you said, like it's also weird too because the way the game opens up, it throws you right into what I thought was the tutorial level in the Tower of London. No spoilers. That's just the tutorial or the opening area at least. And then it's like, hey, are you a first timer? You should play the tutorial. I'm like, wait, what was that whole level? You taught me. About attacking, about things like that. And then you do another level, which was the demo that was released earlier, late last year. And then you do that level, and I'm like, okay, I'm playing Nioh. I'm in the game. And then either after that whole level and a boss, which is like the first real boss of the game, it's like, here's another tutorial, and now the world map's open, and this is Nioh. Like, title card, this is Nioh.
And not to, like, get into spoiler territory, but you continue to get even more tutorials later on.
Crazy.
Like, they could, like, dish that out a lot better. And that opening chapter is really weird in particular because they disable a bunch of the stuff you can do in the game. So it doesn't even work as a tutorial because you don't have, like, the tools that you actually want to learn. It's kind of sloppy in, like, some areas. Yeah. But I find the core combat to be a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it, which was surprising since I think Bloodborne
games. And like Bloodborne, a good comparison I made that was another not flaw but oversight was so the way Bloodborne works is mild spoilers for Bloodborne. One of the first bosses in that game is called the Cleric Beast, and it's this big lumbering thing that you fight on a bridge. Big swipes and stuff. And the game, when you play Bloodborne, the opening level of Bloodborne, they throw a boss in there that doesn't reward you for learning the mechanics that you just learned. And I think Nioh's similar in a way that, like, the fishing village, which is one of the first main areas, it's an okay area. Like, it teaches you about, like, hey, here's a shortcut. Here's, be on guard. Here's what yokai realm monsters are. We'll give you a few of those. Be aware of what you're doing, secrets, all that good stuff. And then, here are some enemies. And then they put you in a boss, which is basically a boss room that's super small, confined.
With a boss that literally kills you in 2 hits, no matter like how good you level up or like how much you level up until that point. So I thought it was an interesting decision to gate make the first boss that guy, because I don't feel like
he rewards what you just did. That being said, it gives you that same rush when you like beat a boss. It's like, oh man, like that boss, I had a sliver of health left, no healing items, and then I was able to defeat him. I feel pretty good about myself.
Yeah, you definitely get that rush, like you were saying. So Alex, I had a question for you. I know you're like a Souls guy.
Yeah, actually,
like, and Team Ninja obviously are trying to like cater to that audience. Like, does Nioh appeal to you?
No, like who's the publisher? I'm just curious.
Sony's publishing it.
See, I mean, for me in particular, I think it comes out at the right time where I'm looking for another Souls game. Like, it's been a long time. Dark Souls 3 came out last year. And it kind of hit me at the right point, but it kind of came and gone. And I mean, I have it right here with me. It's sitting there, and I know if I don't put in 30 to 40 hours in it, I'm not gonna get that investment. So,
it's a long game.
It's just like you need to budget your time with any game, and especially this game.
Yeah, it's like they're touting about 70 hours for like mainish completion, and then like well over 100 to do everything. Because
there's a ton of side quests.
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't get a chance to mention that, but after that mission, you basically are brought out to a world map, which is called the Starting Point, which is a weird name for a world map. And then you can replay that fishing village mission and actually it's interesting in the sense that you play it backwards. So you start from where the boss is and you play it to the beginning of the level, which I thought was interesting, and then you fight like another like sub boss. And then there's also something called Twilight missions, which kind of like take away a lot of your stuff. So like if you like, elixirs are basically your Estus Flask in this game, where they're like rechargeable health items, and they take those away and they give you back to basically like the minimum, which is 3. And you play through like a much harder difficulty, because this is a loot game. Like I said in the beginning, like you are very much going to find a sword that does 65 damage, and then 5 minutes later you might find a sword that does 73 damage and might scale.
One thing that is interesting about like the what are they, nightmare missions?
Twilight missions, yeah.
Twilight, yeah. Is that they replace a lot of the enemies.
Yeah.
Like people that were like regular humans are now the yokai. It's just way harder.
Really hard.
I tried playing the first level as a Twilight mission, and I was not having a good time with it, so I bailed.
All that being said, though, like
there's a lot there.
It's a great game. Like it's a game that you're going like a Souls game. You're going to get more the more time you put into it. So if you give it time, if you learn the stances, if you get familiar with the different types of weapons, I'm a sword guy, sword and axe. But I just started delving into like the dual swords, which are pretty cool. So like every weapon is basically different in a sense, and they all play differently depending on the stances. So if you put the time into it, one disconcerting thing that Tyler mentioned to me off air was that like, even after 30 hours in, some of the bosses are still mean machines, in a sense that like, no matter how leveled you are, they still seem like they're a little OP, in a sense that like they'll kill you really fast.
So how's the co-op? I'm just kind of curious on how that plays into, because I think even though I think 3 did some good things, I don't think it advanced over 2 in that area.
So there's a couple different ways to do co-op. I think there's a way where you can just join a buddy's game, which I haven't been able to play. I haven't been able to do because I was reviewing it, so I didn't really have other people to jump in that way. But the other way is you can put up this cup at the shrines, which are like the checkpoints throughout the level, or the campfires, or whatever would be the Dark Souls equivalent. and you can basically put up these cups for offer, and then other people can come into your game and help you, and then if you succeed that level with that other player, they get your cup. Otherwise, the cup's wasted, and everybody loses out on their time.
Yeah, it's a very similar to Bloodborne in a sense that, you ring a bell and you can co-op. But one of the things, and Tyler mentioned it, it's very cool that I can just say, you know what, I want Tyler. I need Tyler to help me with this boss, and I can just invite him. And I really like that, because in Bloodborne and Souls games, they're always random, which is cool too. But I like that I can just say, hey, are you available? Cool. Hop on and help me beat this boss or something. I'm also one of those stubborn guys, unfortunately. Like in the Souls games, I didn't summon because I'm like, I'm going to beat this guy by myself. And, you do feel cool when you beat stuff by yourself. But I know, especially, Tyler, who's reviewing the game and has to do it in a certain time and stuff like that. I know that at a point, even after you bang your head against the wall 10, 15 times, it might be time just to summon. And I've heard, it works pretty well when you summon in co-op.
Yeah, I played most of the game in co-op, summoning people. And it definitely works well. It's kind of rough at times because if, let's say, especially when I was the one helping out other people, because, they still have to learn the boss patterns. Maybe not to do as much damage as I am, but to avoid their attacks. Yeah. And so there were a lot of times where they would get hit by a one-hit kill attack.
Now I meant to ask you, is summoning...
I just wasted 30 minutes trying to help out somebody.
Is summoning only for bosses, or can I just be like, yo, this area is super tough, I need you?
Yeah, the whole level.
Cool.
You just do it from the shrine, and then so people can jump in, whatever.
I kind of like that the game's instance, in a sense, where it is broken up into levels. So, I kind of like that.
I kind of wish they did a little further with that and kept your progress. If you fell out of a level, you have to restart that from the very beginning. You don't keep your shrine progress and stuff. And I think that's punishing, for no reason. Because, there's a lot of times when, let's say I use up all my ammo and I want to buy ammo. If I jump out of a level, then I have to do that whole level all over again.
Yeah.
So it's, it's a lot of, do I give up, 50 minutes of progress to get the ammo that I need against this boss?
Or a weapon, in a sense, or an item that brings the blacksmith to you in a level would have been nice, where you can buy that ammo in the level or something.
Yeah, that might even be something, and I just didn't notice it. I'm not saying it's not in the game.
Yeah, there's a lot to this game. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we, the things that we mentioned and the things that we didn't mention. So I highly recommend, there's some great articles out there, beginning tips for Nioh, so you guys can read those before hopping in.
Yeah, I think the one thing developers need to do better with these types of games is just communicate to the player. I do think the bosses are a little overpowered. I think the rest of the game is balanced really well in terms of difficulty. I never got too frustrated playing through the regular levels, but communicating information better would be just make it a lot easier, because going through all the menus and stuff trying to figure out what does whatever, it can be frustrating at times.
Yeah, but Nioh, highly recommend it. If you like character action games, if you like hard games, I don't really like using the hard vernacular, but it is a challenging game, and it's one that is punishing.
But does it get you hard, Andrew?
Easy. Depending on, I was ready to go after that first boss. That's all I'm saying.
Whoa.
I'm just saying. It is a great feeling, and I like games that reward the player with that sense of oh my god, that guy has so much left. Do I risk it and go in? I don't have anything left. Because these games are very AI animation driven, so when they do their animations, hey, I'm gonna punch you, Alex. Here's the punch. That's what these games are. So that when the punch is coming, and you can dodge it and act accordingly. And I like that it rewards the player for knowing that stuff. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Tyler, I know I don't know if your review's live yet or
yeah, I gave it a 7.5. So, people were mad, but that's a positive score. I really liked it. I cannot speak highly enough about the combat. I think it's grindy, which kind of kills a lot of the enjoyment. And personally, I don't like spending that amount of time with a game. I like 20 hours tops. But I think it's a good game.
Yeah.
I think, and if I like it, then other people will love it.
Also,
I hate everything.
Interesting opening cover, I'll call it, to a intense 90 days. You have Nioh, Horizon Zero Dawn's launching at the end of February. Mass Effect Andromeda is going to be a huge game. Persona 5. I mean, and then some other things. Halo Wars 2, if you're an RTS fan. So there's a lot of like games in these next 90 days. And Nier Autonoma, if you're a Nier fan.
You know,
too, like
you mentioned Halo Wars, and I have seen zero press for that at all. It just seems like, I don't know if that's because of the Halo brand and what it is right now, or if that's just Halo Wars and people don't know what that is.
I just think it's super hard to market an RTS well. I mean, you have the Halo brand, which is like a phenomenon, you know, Halo. Maybe not what it is now, what it was when it came out in the 2000, but you know, it's hard to market an RTS, especially if they're not like extremely goofy. Like Red Alert 3 worked on commercial form because that game is so extremely goofy, so you could just throw videos of Tim Curry, you know, and dolphins with lasers on their heads. But Halo Wars,
Ric Flair wrestling a bear.
Yeah, so Halo Wars is like a little bit harder to sell because it is really just a strict RPG. RTS.
I will say I was looking at a release list for the month a couple days ago, and I saw that Halo Wars is there, and I had no clue it was coming out. I like to think as I'm somebody who follows the industry kind of closely, so they definitely could be doing a better job.
I mean, like it's in
raising
terms of
awareness.
RTSs, that whole entire genre has moved solely towards esports focus, and I have no clue what that genre or what that game is focusing on and what it's trying to develop as an esport. The last big RTS was probably StarCraft 2, and that was 2010.
Yeah, I mean, things really have moved on to that MOBA land of point-and-click games in a sense. And I think Halo Wars 2 can work. I mean, Halo Wars was an interesting idea, and it's one of the better, if not best, console RTSs. For those that listeners that don't know, Microsoft has a program called the Play Anywhere program. So if you buy Halo Wars 2, you get it on both PC and Xbox One. And no offense to the Xbox One, I would much rather play an RTS on a PC.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with a mouse and keyboard. So it'll be interesting. I'll check it out. I like RTS games. Company Heroes are I do like Command and Conquer too, but Company Heroes are one of my favorite series, especially the second one. So I'll check it out.
I will say though that like, what was it? Dead Rising 4 wasn't in the Play Anywhere program, and they didn't really advertise it, so I thought it was part of the Xbox One and PC. So I bought it for Xbox One. So whatever. I wanted to get it for PC, but you know.
Yeah, that's rough because like they need to do a better job with that because you know Dead Rising 4 is a platform exclusive for a while before it jumps onto other consoles. So it's interesting that it wouldn't be that because like Xbox, you know, as a brand is not, even though it's selling pretty well, don't get me wrong, that's great, but I know they want to do more. Microsoft as a brand's doing well, but the Xbox needs to do more, and I'm sure we'll see a bigger push at E3 this year with Scorpio. I'm sure we'll see that thing and you know, get like full specs and pricing and stuff like that because they're hoping for holiday this year.
I mean, I think Xbox by itself, I'm not including Microsoft the brand, is doing really well. It's in a really good position. 2 years ago, probably 3 years ago, it wasn't in a good spot with the whole Xbox Live connected and how it was fracturing its base.
That being said, we haven't gotten a chance to talk about like, you know, the Scalebound cancellation. I mean, Scalebound never looked super interesting. Yeah. I mean, it looked like an okay 4-player co-op game, but it looked like they were at least going for it. You know, like that Platinum Games, they'll go for it, even though sometimes it doesn't work out. Like that Ninja Turtles game was pulled from Steam. Mutants Take Manhattan, I think it was called, or something like that. Yeah, pulled from Steam. Awful game. But you know, so it's
I think Activision's TMNT license just
expired, so they had to take it off.
Yeah, because a couple TMNT games got pulled.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So you know, like I just want more stuff. Cuphead, I'd like to see more Cuphead, and hopefully a release date this year. I mean, Cuphead's been long in gestation, so I'd like to see that game come out because that one does look really intriguing to me.
Yeah, I know they really changed the scope of that. Like originally, it was just going to be boss fights, and now they're having like a full like story.
So Scalebound it was by who again? It was by Platinum Games. And Platinum what?
Cameo was
and Platinum
director.
I mean, they were doing a lot of third-party games.
Yeah.
And no offense to those at Platinum, but at the same time, the quality did dip. It dipped. After Bayonetta, I would say that they haven't really been the same developer.
Yeah, I agree. There's a review, a good review in my opinion, of Transformers Devastation on VPDaily.com that you can check out. But I liked Transformers Devastation as like a small 3 to 4 hour beat 'em up in the Platinum style with the Transformers license. And then I think that one worked well. And then I think they tried to capitalize on that and do Ninja Turtles. And Ninja Turtles was a very bad video game. So yeah, they're hit or miss. I agree, Alex. Like, I think that, they're working on some things, and I know that there's Nier Automata is also Platinum. So, that game looks like it's going to be huge to the people that like the Nier franchise. But that demo was incredible, so I'm on board.
I'm trying to think what else did they do. They did Legend of Korra, right? Or they did...
Yeah,
Legend
that
of
was
Korra.
the one, it seems like I broke everyone's back.
Legend of Korra is a very bad
But
video
that seemed
game.
like combining that art style and that animation series. Take it, I haven't watched that series, but it seems like those two would be a perfect, perfect combo.
Yeah, and like I said, they got Nier. Scarebond's canceled, so hopefully Nier comes out, sells decently for them. They also did. I personally wasn't a huge fan, but Star Fox Zero from last year.
Were they assisting or were they?
No. They developed that. They developed Star Fox Zero,
Okay.
And also Star Fox Guard, which was the thing that came with Star Fox Zero, like a more of a little mini game type of thing. So that was kind of a hit, And like you said, honestly, after Bayonetta 2, they've had kind of a a little rough patch. But I hope Nier comes out, does well.
I think it's pretty clear they have different teams, and some of their contract work, like the licensed games, have not been up to par. But I still believe Platinum Games can deliver a quality product
and Vanquish is awesome
when they're given the tools.
I love Vanquish. What a great game.
Because I'm sure like Activision wasn't giving them a ton of time for those licensed games.
Hey, there's a new movie coming out this year. Grind. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see that. But yeah, Team Ninja, great return to form. I mean, like Tyler said, after Ninja Gaiden 3, they've been kind of, stepping back. Well, Nioh is, interesting enough, one of those development hell games where it took a long time to develop this game. So it's good that it came out. It's good that those games that were long in gestation have come out.
It was originally announced in 2004.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It wasn't
wild.
Team Ninja at first, and it kind of moved around Tecmo like internally for a while.
Yeah.
But like it's been like long in the work. Like it wasn't in active development the whole time, but it's been in that planning stages a whole long time.
And real quick before we jump to our next topic, I mean, we didn't mention it because it's not, I guess, to compare it to the game. The narrative's a little light. I mean, there's definitely a little bit more of a narrative than a Bloodborne, but you play William, you'll see some other famous people, but it's, it's very light on narrative, and it basically serves to basically just attempt to be coherent and tie some.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. There, like the narrative's not a focus in that game, but it's anybody who's like familiar with the Sengoku period of Japanese history will be familiar with a lot of the names and characters who show up, like Hanzo Hattori, the famous ninja, and stuff like that, which is kind of cool for like a history geek like me. Like I enjoy that stuff, even if it's not like very deep.
So I assume it's just building out the universe, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I remember Dark Souls 1 or even Demon Souls didn't really have much of a story. So
yeah, I mean, they're all convoluted in all honesty. Even Bloodborne's kind of a convoluted story. It really just serves to bookend and be like, hey, something cool's going to happen, and now fight this boss. Yeah, it's cool. A little bit more lighthearted than those games, too. Like, after you beat that first level, a guy walks up and just pulls a cat out of his robe. And I'm like,
he does.
I'm like, okay.
He does.
I'm on board. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I haven't gotten a chance to play it. But I know a little bit of a segue. Tyler's been playing Yakuza 0, and I went from cat to chicken. But I'm just thinking about that chicken gif that's going around of just the main character staring at that chicken and this chicken staring intently back at him. I'm like, whoa, I need to play Yakuza 0. Briefly, Tyler, Yakuza 0, still enjoying that?
Yeah, I beat that game.
Oh, you beat it, sweet.
Jeez, I reviewed it, so I had to beat like a week before it came out. But I'm still playing it. Like I think that speaks to it. Like I'm still grinding out. Stupid
Question.
Stuff, getting
Good jumping on point because Yakuza. I think I tried to play Yakuza 4 once, and I got about like 3 or 4 hours into it because I heard that one was an okay jumping on point because it featured different characters. Yakuza 0, if I wanted to jump back into the series, Yakuza 0 could be a good start.
That's a really good starting point. It's not as slow as past Yakuza games. Like Yakuza 3 has you like on this orphanage at a beach for like 5 hours to begin it, and then Yakuza 6 or Yakuza 5 is you taking a 30-minute cab drive at the beginning of the game. Like these are not like strong starts. And Yakuza 0 starts with you beating the shit out of some dude.
The empty
so
lot.
It's like way faster starts.
Yeah.
And it's just like a really great game.
Awesome.
So yeah, good starting point.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that.
So do you, Tyler? Or do you, Andrew? You saw John Wick. I'm kind of curious. Like, what did you think about the next installment of? I would say probably like one of the most surprising Keanu Reeves movies.
Yeah, absolutely. So, John Wick 2, by the time you're hearing this, will be out on Friday, February 9th, 10th.
9th or 10th, yeah.
So, 10th, and also Lego Batman comes out that day. Don't sleep on Lego Batman. But yeah, sequel to John Wick, which was an action movie. This genre is called Perfect Assassin. So it's like John Wick goes ba 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 and gets 3 headshots. Like think Taken, think movies like that. And yep, like Alex said, that movie came out of nowhere and surprised a lot of people. And so now people know the name John Wick. And I think that John Wick 2 delivers in literally almost every way. I think there's something novel about the setup of John Wick 1 where it's just like, hey, I'm a retired mafia guy, hitman, and, I just want to live this peaceful life, and you guys come and kill my dog, and now you all have to die. I think this setup isn't as good, but it's Lawrence Fishburne, aka Morpheus from the Matrix series, that gets him back into it. So I'm like, okay, Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne back together again. I'm on board, even if it's not as good. But other than that, the action is top-notch. Really great action scenes in this one. Some great actors like Common from the first movie, Ruby Rose. There's a lot of great people. And they build out the world, which is really cool. Which I like to see. It's a lot of fun. And, oh boy, I'm out.
Would you count John Wick as a video game movie?
In a sense, yes. I don't think I can even do the things that he does in video games unless it was like an on-rail shooter or something.
Did you guys know that John Wick's in?
He's in
Payday.
He's a DLC character, or he's a yeah.
Oh yeah. Payday 2, right? Is that same game still going?
2.
No, they shut that down.
It's free to play, I believe. So
wait, didn't they? I thought they had an article.
No, they've had like 80 things of a DLC for it.
It's a real. I love that game. That game's great.
Starbreeze, right?
Yeah, Starbreeze. Starbreeze also.
Yeah, I think that game sucks, but I think it's terrible.
It's a little bit. It's a repetitive, but you know what you're walking into.
So, I played like the Xbox One port.
That's why
of the game. And it was broken upon release. Like, you couldn't even connect online with anybody. I think I gave it like a 2 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10, something real harsh. But that game was garbage, even when it worked. But,
I'm in between the two of you guys. Like, I thought it was interesting, and I did the heist, and then I did the heist the same way again. It's like, hey, let's do another one. Let's load up and do it again. And we did it literally the same exact thing. It's like, okay, you cracked the safe. Now we're going to be ready. And we did it. And I was like, so what's the difference? Like, what do you...
Also, I got beef with Starbreeze because they do the dumbest stuff at E3 each year. Like, they had zombies walking around the one year. Like, walking around the halls. And, like...
They didn't do that Walking Dead game, did they?
No.
They're working on...
Okay.
They're working on...
Who did that Walking Dead game with Daryl on the cover? I know Activision published it.
Aren't they making a new Walking Dead game?
I don't think
they are.
What was that game called? Walking Dead, the one with Daryl on the cover.
I know what you're talking about, though.
Walking Dead, let's see, video game.
Okay, Overkill's The Walking Dead is what I'm thinking.
Yes, isn't that a VR game, too?
Starbreeze.
Well, I think Overkill has their own proprietary VR headset.
VR thing.
Yeah, which is just weird.
So that Walking Dead game's coming out later this year, apparently.
Isn't that by the guys of Left 4 Dead? Or am I hallucinating that?
Turtle Rock? No, Turtle Rock, I don't know if they went over to that company. Maybe. I know Turtle Rock obviously did the ill-fated Evolve game where they tried to reboot it. Oh, Survival Instinct is the game I'm thinking of. And that was Terminal Reality that did that. And that was an awful game.
So I don't know anything about John Wick, but Keanu Reeves has been doing some stuff to promote the film. And I saw him answer the question of if pineapple should go on pizza. He had a very philosophical answer where he said, some people like pineapple on pizza. Some do not like pineapple on pizza. Sometimes I like pineapple on pizza. Sometimes I don't. And it was like, he was just like staying out of his mind.
Was that your Keanu?
Yeah, and I'm paraphrasing there. I couldn't find a direct quote.
You gotta hit him with the cadence though.
And I was trying to find like somebody who transcribed his thoughts, and I stumbled upon a subreddit for people who really like pineapple on pizza called Knights of Pineapple. And these are the biggest losers like I've ever seen in my life.
No, pineapple stays nowhere on my pizza.
Let me read this bio. We here at r/Knights of Pineapple fight for pineapples on pizza. There are many filthy peasants here on Reddit that believes pineapples are disgusting, but they are wrong and their opinion must be changed, or we must crush them. Like, it's just pizza. Calm down.
Wait a second though.
nerds.
This is important though. Do you guys think pineapple should be on pizza? No way.
I don't honestly mind it. It really does depend on what flavor I'm going for.
I feel like people are allowed to, if like they
I don't mind it.
Hey, Keanu said it best. Some people like pineapple on pizza. Some people don't like pineapple on pizza. It's up to you. I mean,
does he get hit all of his sentences and whoa at the same?
Remember sad Keanu? Remember when the internet was a simpler time and everybody could just rally around that sad Keanu Reeves picture of him eating on the bench?
Sad Keanu.
Simpler times. I also saw a trailer that somebody made called Dogwick, and it's the plot of John Wick. But instead they kill John Wick, and it's his dog that takes revenge and kills everybody. And it's pretty good. Yeah, I wonder if they'd make a John Wick video game. That would be interesting. I mean, it depends on the type of game. I mean, he's already in Payday. But, yeah, he said he...
Telltale Games, John Wick.
It's just the cursor. A. And as you aim the cursor around. Yeah, I mean, eventually Telltale's going to do something. It'll be...
at a certain point, Telltale can't really do too much because they already have a Guardians of the Galaxy. They have a new DC property, a new Telltale property that's their own. They're not doing anything besides that. So that's 3 other games.
I assume they'll bring back Tales from the Borderlands. I think like that was a series that did well enough that if Gearbox allowed it to come back, well, I mean,
I think they're doing a season 2 of what's the nerd
Minecraft,
TV show?
Right?
No, Games of Thrones.
Wait, they are going to do a season through? That's interesting.
I thought they confirmed
I feel
that,
like I feel like they would do Borderlands before that because Game of Thrones it wasn't bad. I mean, it honestly didn't.
But it probably sold more than Borderlands.
Did any of you guys play the Game of Thrones series here?
No,
I did.
Okay, yeah. So like again,
I've never seen the TV show or read the book, but I got my platinum trophy.
I've
much.
been very openly critical of Telltale, so I'll continue that in saying that like the choices don't matter. Telltale choices are some of the biggest bullshit in the history of video games. I hate them. But at least Game of Thrones does an interesting one. I think it's at like the end of episode 4 where you literally have to choose one of those characters has to die.
Yeah, you have to kill one of the protagonists.
Which I thought that was like, well, albeit, it again, you're going to get to the end, like the same goal in a sense. Like, both of those characters were okay in a sense. Like, I liked both those characters enough that I was like, oh, it's kind of a shame to see one of them go. So I thought at least that was a pretty good decision.
that was well done. I do have to say, I started the Telltale Batman game the other night. That's what I've been playing since I beat Nioh. And there's like, before you start the game, you have to choose what color your gear is. And I tweeted out a screenshot, and I'm like, this is like the most impactful choice you've ever made in a Telltale game.
Our first 3 episodes of Telltale Batman have reviews up on the site, vpdaily.com. And I hope to get around to episodes 4 and 5 pretty soon and get a review up for those. And
I just started episode 4.
Yeah, and that series really kind of goes downhill after episode 3.
The Walking Dead stuff, season 3 is already out. It's not that bad, but I'm kind of surprised that they aired the first 2 episodes. I guess you can't consider them a broadcast, but whatever.
No,
I mean,
I like that word.
It's legit, but I'm not too sure how I feel about Clementine, what they did with her in season 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we talked about this before about how I think this is probably going to be the end of the road or end of the line for her in some ways. They're going to introduce the new character and then eventually shepherd the new series off or shepherd the franchise off.
Yeah. And
I hope it's done with, unless they get some more interesting story ideas for that universe. I hope it's done for The Walking Dead, because I don't mind the game, but I feel like we're retreading story beats.
Like I don't no.
How many times do you have to bury somebody?
Exactly.
In that game?
No spoilers, but there's a specific moment at the end of the first part of the 3rd season's opening episode where this character gives a monologue essentially, and then it pauses, and I'm like, oh well, this person's dead. Pow! And I'm like, yeah, and it happens in Michonne too. It's you meet this family, and the dad's giving this emotional monologue. He's like, make sure you take care of my kids if anything happens to me. Long pause, long pause, long pause, shot in the face. And I'm like, we knew this was coming. I mean, Waypoint, Vice's Waypoint wrote a great article in a sense that Clementine was the main character, like it or not, in the first 2 seasons of those games. So now you play season 3, and Lee was the main character in season 1, the protagonist, but you play those games in a way where you want to do the thing that benefits Clementine the most.
Yeah.
And because you know who that is and you want to protect Clementine, so it leads you to also I don't want to spoil anything, but the characters in that game, complete bullshit. I don't know if you guys played Walking Dead season 3, but my mission of The Walking Dead was to make Kenny my best friend until the end of time.
Thank you. I'm with you.
And then
I was ride or die with Kenny.
The opening of season 3 is oh shit, we have to kill off Kenny, don't we? So here's some, Kenny, the guy that literally sacrifices himself about 4 times. Here's some bullshit way to get him out of here, where Clementine can't know how to drive a car. And I was like, oh my god, this is awful.
So wait.
This is awful.
Roll it back a little bit, because all 3 of us probably have different endings, different conclusions. On the way season 2 ended.
No, I think me and Andrew stayed with Kenny the whole time because we ain't punk bitches.
I killed off
Alex?
Kenny myself. Season 2.
Why? Why would you do that?
Kenny was the man.
I finished the fight.
What's wrong with you?
Okay.
Zombies are out there. I'm gonna finish this shit.
Okay, so now, quick question for you. So the way season 2 ends, and we'll put, hey, people listening, we'll put a spoiler tag in the notes of this show.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, I know. Just so people who haven't got a chance to play it. But at the end of season 2, so my question for you is, you killed Kenny. Did Jane stay alive in your game, or did you go by yourself, or how'd your season end?
I hope you killed both, because she was
going by herself.
Worse than Kenny.
It's been about 2.5 years, but
because they had to get rid of those characters. They had to get rid of Kenny or Jane in season 3. So you either have Jane offing herself, or you have Kenny. Because Clementine doesn't...
she kills herself?
Yeah, if you go with Jane...
That's kind of rad.
Yeah, you walk in, she's pregnant, and she kills herself. She hangs herself, which is kind of morbid.
My version is that Clementine already has...
Wait, does the fetus become a zombie
fetus?
Easy.
PG.
I'm just curious how that works in that universe.
I actually think she loses the baby, and that's what causes herself to...
Because I'm just saying, I'm pro-life, I believe you have a baby and then you have a living human.
And then you have to cut her down and basically kill her. Kenny is teaching Clementine how to drive a stick shift, and she can't drive a stick shift, so he goes flying out the window and gets eaten by zombies. And I'm like, excuse me?
Maybe that wasn't the way it should have handled.
I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, wait a second. The same Kenny that literally I kept alive for 2 years, the same Kenny that I replayed episode 2 of season 1 to side with him and used the cinder block to kill that old guy because I wanted Kenny to be my boy. I'm like, that Kenny flies out a window and tells Clementine to leave. I'm like, that is... I was so upset. Honestly, if season 3 wasn't presented in an okay way where I like some of the hooks, obviously you knew it was his brother at the end of that thing. I saw that coming a mile away. But I like some of the hooks in that game that I will see it out to its conclusion. But if they weren't there, I don't know if I'd play that game because I was literally pissed that Kenny
died. Let's just back it out a little bit. I've been playing Mass Effect 3 because I'm really looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda.
Hey, Mass Effect 3 is a great game. I mean, the ending didn't hit, but great game.
But here's where Walking Dead Season 3... There's the same problems with large ensemble casts. And
yeah, that's true.
So I like Mass Effect 3. I will say that it's better than Mass Effect 1, and people love Mass Effect 1. I don't think there's a bad game in that series, just for the record. But at the same time, in Mass Effect 3, you only get to play with, what do you think, 3 or 4 of the original cast from the first game?
Yeah.
And you only get to play with maybe 2 characters from the second game?
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you.
I mean, I love Mass Effect 3, but the real bait and switch leading up to the launch, leading up to Mass Effect 3, and thinking that you're going to have more loyalty missions, more of, I'm going to keep on going on this adventure of, just more of Mass Effect 2. And I think that's probably, I mean, we don't want to talk about PR, but I think that was probably bad PR on Mass Effect 3 side.
I will counterbalance. I will, interject and say that Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect 3, you have about 11 crew members.
You have what? You have 14. Yeah.
In Walking Dead, they really could have handled it a little bit better because it really is just Kenny or Jane. I mean, and I understand, look, I played Mass Effect 2 till the end of time. The moment I started the suicide mission and I found out I didn't upgrade my shields enough and somebody died, I go, nope, Xbox off, and I replayed it to make sure everybody lived. And then it is disappointing that some of those guys only show up like Jacob and they do cool things with like Jack has a cool little section where she's running a school now for biotic children.
She's running Hogwarts.
Yeah, that's a cool segment, but I know it's hard to make 14 characters matter, like Zahid, the DLC only character from Mass Effect 2. I know that it's hard to make those characters matter, but Kenny, man, he's been with you for 2 seasons. Yeah. I killed Jane to stay with Kenny. I declined going into the sanctuary at the end so I can go with Kenny and walk out into the distance, and the way to do me like that, and again, this is the Telltale problem. I mentioned in my review for Telltale's Batman, the way I played Telltale's Batman The Walking Dead is I did not want Harvey Dent to become Two-Face. I was going to do
my whole goal in that game was to bang Catwoman, and I was successful.
Hey, you can do that too. But my thing is, I do not want Harvey Dent to become Two-Face. So there's a choice at the end of one of the episodes where you could save Catwoman or Harvey Dent. I saved Harvey Dent. There's a section where you could save Harvey Dent in episode 3. I saved Harvey Dent. There's a section where you can either go and fight Harvey Dent or go and fight Penguin into episode 4. I went to fight Harvey Dent because I wanted him to Harvey Dent. And then all of a sudden he goes, "You slept with Catwoman? I'm Two-Face now." I'm like, what the fuck? Come on! I was like, I literally did everything.
Well, why'd you bang Catwoman?
This is the problem with. I've said this on the Game of the Year podcast, but at the same time, the problem with Harvey Dent after Christopher Nolan is that it comes off as repetitive. You know what's going to happen. The White Knight falls, and no matter what, it's an awesome story, but you've already seen it.
But then don't say my choices matter. If I make 90%, 99% of the choices to avoid him becoming Two-Face, and then literally the game just says, oh, there's a thing of Catwoman where even if you don't sleep with her, you're in her apartment and he finds you and you betrayed him. Way to violate the bro code, Batman.
Yeah, but at least bang Catwoman.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
She has her student, she goes...
Yeah, that's good.
No, they did actually. That's the one thing that game does well is the Selena Kyle Batman relationship's not bad in that game. They do a decent job of that, but
the game does a good job of banging Catwoman.
The bigger issue with
press A to bang Catwoman.
But the bigger issue, I would say, with that relationship between the two is that you've already seen that dynamic with Tales from the Borderlands. You've already seen that between Troy Baker and. I'm forgetting who the voice actor for Selena was.
Laura Bailey.
Thank you. You've already seen that dynamic work out. So it's kind of, again, it's Telltale, so they have to do this. So it's more like.
Did you guys play Tales from the Borderlands?
I played it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great one. I think that Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead season 1 are probably my 3 favorites.
I just replayed The Wolf Among Us on Vita to get another platinum because I'm a trophy whore.
What are you doing?
But
it
doesn't play well on Vita.
Do you swipe? Do you use the touchscreen at all for the?
You could, but I didn't.
Is it a port of the iOS version, or I wonder if it's just a port of the iOS version?
I think it is. I think it
might be.
That's interesting.
But you can use the buttons and stuff, so I just use.
God bless the Vita.
But it gets really chuggy at points where it's like the action scenes are really hard to manage in that game.
Yeah, I like that one though. I don't think we'll ever get a season 2 of that, but I like that one a lot.
And I'm kind of glad because I dug into the Fables Wikia page over the weekend.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself?
And like the places where that story goes is not where I would want like Fable like the stuff I found interesting about Fables becomes like this inner realm warfare bullshit, and then Big B becomes this like ghost thing, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Big B.
I gave up.
It's all about that easy D. Big B.
But really cool premise, even if I feel like they go off the rails.
Yeah. Telltale's an interesting little beast. I joked about this. I think probably like on our first or second episode of the show. Point taken. Available on vpdaily.com. I joked about this, and I said that one day Telltale could get to a sense where you pay a monthly subscription and you play their games weekly. So they have enough properties where every week they can release a new episode of a franchise, and you just paid a monthly fee. I still think they can do that. I don't know if they'll ever do that, but I still think it's a possibility because they have enough properties like
One thing that's interesting about The Walking Dead Season 3 is they do have, like, you put in your Telltale account and whatever, but they have, like, all the advertisements for all their other games, like, built into the game. And it's like, hey, check out all our other games. And I thought that was really slick, like, well-done way to make me go, man, I should play The Wolf Among Us again.
They also did a good job with the generation of that game, Walking Dead Season 3, because I played those games on Xbox, and I migrated to PC for Season 3. And so I had to do the answer generation. And again...
Oh, yeah, they did that really well. Yeah, because I was able to ride or die with my boy Kenny.
I wonder if Mass Effect is going to have a similar questionnaire, or is it Mass Effect even going to impact Andromeda?
I wonder if they'll do that because, like I said, besides everybody's dead in Andromeda, or the majority of people are dead in Andromeda. Because for those of you who don't know, Mass Effect Andromeda is sometime in between Mass Effect 1 and 2. The people go, hey, we might not beat the Reapers. Or we might not beat this threat. So they basically send an arc called the Andromeda to another galaxy to basically restart the population. And if things go sour. And that's
is this game just about fucking?
Hey, you're not wrong. Isn't every game? But it's like what is so new characters, new races, and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see that. But yeah, I mean the council and things like that. It could be a generation. Hey, did you take the Star Child's hand at the end of Mass Effect 3? Answer below.
This is the first time I've been interested in a Mass Effect game.
Mass Effect Andromeda?
No, it sounds good.
I'm worried because as the main story stuff of their last game, Dragon Age Inquisition, is great. And the characters of that game are great. Shout out to my boy Freddie Prinze Jr. and Bald Build. That's my boy right there. But the side quest and the world that was in Dragon Age Inquisition was not very good. So I hope that doesn't carry over to Mass Effect Andromeda, where the main story is incredible and the side stuff's not wonderful. Because the best parts about Mass Effect are the side stuff, and the characters especially. So I think they can. BioWare's great.
I don't know. I mean, they're balancing. They have a new studio that's working on a new IP. They're still working on the Old Republic, which I still love what they're doing with it, but I think that's coming to a close pretty soon.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Elder Scrolls Online, out of the blue, went from being a free-to-play game where you can buy it on consoles to releasing a Morrowind expansion, for full price. And I'm like, okay, sure. Go with God, Elder Scrolls Online, sure.
I think it's been about 10 years since Morrowind. Or is that a bit longer? So I think they're...
a little bit longer. I think it was 2003 Morrowind.
So I think they're doing something to build up the ESO. And what's...
Morrowind, great game. Yeah. 2002 for Morrowind. So yeah, it's been a while.
2002. I remember...
Yeah,
I never... Growing up, that was a game that was just too tempting. And I remember when Oblivion came out, that's when I jumped in.
Yeah, I remember buying Oblivion for the Xbox 360, and it was the display copy at GameSpot. So I opened the case, and it's just basically like a piece of printed paper and the disc. And I was like, okay.
Oh, geez.
And then I became a vampire and couldn't figure out how to unvampire myself. And every time I went out in the daytime, I would instantly die. And I was like, I think that's enough for Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Let's buy some horse armor and call it a day.
Horse armor DLC.
But, yeah, speaking of DLC and buying stuff, this is a god-awful segue, but did you see that they opened D3 up to the public? I mean, my segue game's not on point today.
I really wasn't prepared for how terrible that segue was.
It was a bad segue.
I was like, where's he going with this? And then I'm like, holy hell.
bad
So
segue,
E3 is going to open up to 15,000 consumer passes.
Yeah, $150 for a one-dayer and $250 for like a complete 3-day experience. I'm not 100% sure if people should pay $250 to experience E3.
You know what? They actually had
Yeah.
like consumer passes like when it was
Yeah,
closed
they
off.
did. They did.
But it was like $800 instead of like the $250
Yeah.
or whatever it is now.
They also tried to do that Dorito Zone last year, and
I mean, it's fun. I mean,
like,
honestly, I hope that. So, Andrew, you haven't been to E3, so it's just me and Tyler who have been.
I went once in 2002 at a different publication, and I was not prepared because I was a young, feeble young man.
Trust me,
How old? Wait, 2002?
You're never prepared for E3.
How old were you? Were you like 7?
2012.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
2002. Yeah, I'd be 12. No.
I was like,
Hey, guys!
I was like, were you like Patrick Klepek and your dad was taking you?
I'd flip over my legal pad. Andrew Esposito, reporter here. Talk to me about the PlayStation 2. What is this online you speak of?
Oh, jeez, I was gonna say, was it open to public in 2012, or did they already go to closed off?
They went to closed off. I actually had a press pass.
Okay.
Snuck in. I was like, press pass. And then I was like, what do I do here? I was like, I emailed the guy that I was writing for the publication. It was a place called the Gamer Studio. No longer there.
Oh, the Gamer Studio.
The Gamer Studio. And I go, hey, what should I do here? And he goes, just roam around. I'm like, what does that mean? I was like, what does that mean? He's like, yeah, just get a vibe, just enjoy it. I go, do you want me to like video anything or like write about anything? He goes, you could just write about your overall experience when you're done. I was like, okay. So I just hung out, stood in egregiously long lines that I got to cut a little bit because I was media. Not a media influencer. That's a whole separate line these days, media influencers. Knights of Pineapple, shoot straight to the top.
Get those pineapple pizzas.
Big sub.
Yeah, but yeah, it was cool. It was a cool experience. I don't know if I need to go back in a sense that like I literally think the majority of E3 and VPDaily.com does an incredible job at covering E3, whether it's the press conferences or the news that comes out of it. So I think literally the best way to consume E3 is stream the press conferences and then listen for hot takes on Twitter. I mean, that's the best way.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't get to go last year, and I was more up to date on stuff from my house than when I actually covered stuff. Because when I was actually there on the show floor, I was still finding out information about stuff, like announcements, like a week later. I was like, what? When was that?
That's what tends to happen is you go from appointment to appointment. You're going from hall A to hall S. So, often you don't even get to check your phone. You're just rushing to appointments. So if you really want to get all the news, you're sitting on your ass on your computer just watching the live streams.
And going to VPDaily.com.
That too. Every day. Just keep on refreshing.
Actually, just set it as your homepage. It's super simple. Set it as your homepage. Go there for that hot content. But yeah, so it's interesting. I thought it was an interesting thing. 15,000. I mean, that seems like a sizable chunk at the 250, 150 price tag.
Yeah, they had 50K last year.
In terms of, I mean, last year there was a lot of room to walk around, like compared to years I've been to before.
Yeah,
but
I heard
that. I mean, that's mostly because the booth space was open, people were pulling out, and this is to keep advertisers from not doing that again. I think Activision pulled out last year, and that was the big showdown.
Well, I mean, again, it's just and EA does their thing now, the EA Play thing, where they have like their own separate event. So like there's never been a better time to beam information directly to the consumer. Nintendo was ahead of the game on literally the first thing they've ever been ahead of the game for. It was the Nintendo.
Don't even go there.
No, in all honesty, like Nintendo's behind the curve in a lot of things. Again, they're doing their own thing. That's fine. But the Nintendo Direct thing really is ingenious. It's like, hey, let's get you excited. That we'll tell you when these things are. They're going to be 30 to an hour. You can stream it right on YouTube, Twitch, and everything else. And like literally, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And we don't have to pay E3 for the privilege to use the Chinese hall. Now, again, I love press conferences. Last year's PlayStation press conference, where I forgot where it was, maybe the Chinese theater or the Kodiak theater.
It was somewhere else.
Yeah, wherever it was, they had a big orchestra. They played the God of War music, and I was like, it was an awesome production. But I also love waking up, throwing on YouTube, throwing on that 1080 stream, and just being like, okay, let's see what interesting thing Nintendo has for this year. So yeah, I just think like you can get that information directly.
It is kind of weird looking back at how Nintendo Switch was announced, or the release day and all that other stuff, the pricing. That wasn't in Nintendo Direct.
Nope. Yeah, they had a little mini press conference, and it was super weird, which I loved. I love when weird things like that guy came out in the lab coat. That's my lab coat motion, by the way, guys. He came out in a lab coat for Splatoon, and he had like the toy guns and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, more weird of this stuff. Oh, speaking of 1-2 Switch, they announced that will have 28 games bundled in. One of them's like a baby, and you're like cradling a baby. Also, by the way, don't cradle babies this high, guys. That's not proper etiquette. So like it's interesting. 28 mini games, $50. I feel like that's a good amount for what that thing is. That is, hey, have you heard about the Nintendo Switch? Pop it up here. Do this game. Eat this thing, or whatever that mini game was.
Milk this cow.
Yeah. So
like in terms of, I don't know how much a PAX 3-day badge costs, a general badge. I assume it costs roughly.
No. It's about the same price or a little bit less, because I know it's $75 for like one day, and I think it's like $200 or $150 for the whole 3. And now I think they sell 4. But again, like I said, like E3, I mean, there is somebody's dream out there who wants to go to E3, and I'm glad that this is an option for that kid to be like, hey, mom, parents, like this is an industry that I'm super passionate about. Like, could we do this together? And I think it's a good thing. Like, booth babes aren't there anymore and stuff like that, so it's like more of a positive image for the industry, which is
that's cool. But at the same time, if you're looking to get into the industry and you want to like be involved in your favorite community or meet your favorite streamer or your favorite developer, you have more of a chance to go to PAX. If you want to meet your favorite streamer, like Kind of Funny, that kind of group, you have a better chance to just show up, hang out a booth, and just sit there. That's what a lot of people do. And
yeah. Wait a second. Did that not play? I was pointing to Tyler. I don't know if Tyler's there on his thing too. You're like my favorite streamer. I'm like, oh, Tyler, right there, Tyler. Sorry to interrupt you, Alex. Sorry, that was stupid. Sorry, I just wanted to see if that played.
Okay, but anyways, in general, I mean, like this, it's 4 months till GDC, E3, and I doubt anything's gonna change till then. Hopefully down the line, maybe we might see E3 become the gaming equivalent to Comic-Con.
Sounds such a I agree. Like I said, like E3's great, and in a sense like that, and like more people could go to E3. I mean, it would lose some of its nostalgia, like majesticism, if like more and more it opened up more and more people. But I think like it's cool that more people get to experience that. I think $250 is a little bit pricey to stand online just to play games. Essence. I think they said like there'll be special panels. Like Jeff Keighley's going to be hosting like specific panels for his Keighley production company. So
yeah, I think one thing that's interesting is that I forget the point I was going to make, but I'll say something here. Okay, so in past years, like they'd have. It wasn't unusual to see some like people acting a fool at E3. So I really don't feel like this really changes the dynamic. I know like some of my peers were complaining a lot on Twitter today, and I understand it because this will make doing your work like more of a hassle.
Yeah, but like Alex said, you're
like
busy.
It already was that, so like I can't really get too annoyed at it. So it's like whatever. Like meh.
I don't know.
Like the first year I went, there was this when it was like closed off to media only. There was this dude wearing a giant Boo full body outfit. And it's like, what are you doing with your life, dude? Like, you're supposed to be like a professional, and you're in this King Boo outfit. It's like, nerd.
He takes off his Boo. It's just a guy with a sign that says Knights of Pineapple on it.
But like, there's all these like you see a lot of people that are just there to get swag and stuff, and it's like the weird, like you shouldn't be here.
No, yeah,
So
and
it's
that's
like,
a problem in the industry in general. Of like a lot.
And
of
then when
people
I was
going
at
for the wrong reasons.
PSX in December, people were standing in line for like 2 hours to get into a merch booth at PSX so they could spend their money. So like, I don't think like people are gonna get put off by lines. Apparently they love lines so much that they'll wait in lines so they can spend.
What are
more
you in
money.
line
Like,
for? Oh my god, they have a shirt that I just need. They got this sweet Sony shirt that I just need.
And it was all stuff that they sold on like gear.playstation.com.
I will say the only thing I've ever been jealous of like merch, and it's not even merch, but it was a limited thing. I don't really get jealous for limited editions, but I really, really wanted that gray PlayStation 4. I mean, that wasn't a merch thing, but I really wanted one of those because I have the controller and I use the 20th theme where it makes the music, and I'm like, man, if I could just go back in time and play the PlayStation.
Was this the 20th anniversary?
Yeah, the 20th anniversary PlayStation 4. I loved that thing. I was like, I just like that gray color. I think they knocked it out of the park with that gray. And now I have a PlayStation 4 Pro, and I don't know what I'm doing with it. I'm like, oh, 4K, it looks good. I wanted to ask you guys, did you guys pre-order Switches?
No.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have 2 pre-orders, and I'm going to probably give one or sell one to my brother-in-law. But, like, yeah, I'm interested to see what that thing is. I mean, we talked about the Switch a little bit on vpdaily.com already. But, yeah, I'm interested to, get my hands on Zelda and play that thing because it'll be very interesting because Horizon Zero Dawn by Guerrilla Games comes out a week before that, and they seem like very similar games.
Jeez, Switch is out that soon.
Yeah,
huh?
March 3rd. It's
Boy.
crazy. It's really approaching quickly.
Horizon Zero
Holy,
Dawn, Mass
yeah.
Effect 3, and Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Mass Effect 3, we get a little bit breathing room, like a week or two. But, like, they're all very similar games, but even more than Mass Effect, it's like Zelda is not a rogue-like, but you are running around an open world, collecting specific things, upgrading things, and using that, and that is what Horizon Zero Dawn is. That's the type of game that is, too. So it'll be very interesting to see. I don't think those games will cannibalize each other, because obviously the people that want a new Zelda game want a new Zelda game.
I'm kind of curious, why did you both pre-order the Switch, even though there's like only 5 games, maybe 6 or 7 games at launch? I'm just asking you. No, like, I'm curious. Like,
no. I'm so.
That's a totally fair question.
Alex, save me. 2 blinks, save me. I'm so far in this hole. I am the day one guy. I am the guy that the guys in business suits goes, yes, let's appeal to this guy. He'll buy it on day one.
This is a guy who has a Vita, so don't worry about that.
I have an N-Gage. I have a Game Com. Which was like the first portable to do online and had 2 cartridge slots, and it was awful. Actually, the blackjack on there wasn't bad. It came with a stylus. Awful. Game Gear. Like, I buy everything day one. I'm an awful human being. So I will buy the Switch no matter what, as like my Wii U sits over here, right here. I'm in my Nintendo room, my safe space.
I just say, like,
but
they're gonna have to do some type of price drop, and they didn't even do. I knew that Nintendo doesn't have a history of doing a price drop, even though they didn't do a price drop for the Wii, which was kind of surprising, or for the Wii U. Sorry, I still hate that name, but
like, again, I mean, like, people look at it and they're like, hey man, this is a weak launch lineup. But all throughout Nintendo history, like, the Super Nintendo launched with F-Zero and Super Mario World. Granted, both incredible games, but, like, that's it. I mean, those were the 2 games that it launched with. And I mean, Zelda, to some people, like, this is a Zelda machine at the end of the day. And that's enough for some people because that's what they want, and they're excited to play it on the newest Nintendo hardware. I'm just scared.
Yeah, for me, it's an investment. Like, I know I like Nintendo's games. I'm gonna.
Their
play
first party
whatever
stuff's unparalleled.
There's enough coming out in the first year that I'm happy, like Mario and stuff.
That being said, I am scared for March 3rd because I have 2 orders. I have one from Amazon and one from Best Buy. I will go to store and buy the Best Buy, and I'm scared that I'm gonna see that stuff on the shelf, the 1-2 Switch, the Zelda, the fucking Bomberman R, and I'm gonna buy all that stuff, and another pair of Joy-Cons, and the charging grip, and I'm gonna cry myself to sleep, and I'm gonna be like, why did I do this? So I can play Mario Kart 8.
You're definitely crazier
there was
than I am.
with
great
8
article
people.
on Polygon about it would cost you $700 to buy the entire launch lineup of the Nintendo Switch. That's including, I mean, just saying $700, but like, that's a $700 investment where you can probably get a decent gaming rig, a PC rig, for a little bit more, and it'll last you longer.
Don't worry.
Yeah, but is that gonna have Mario like kissing you
Mario's
and
just
girls?
like Call of Duty at this point.
Every game's about sex at the end of the day, Tyler.
Yep, like Yakuza 0 has you doing dirty things.
It's my.
What is that
what
dance?
are you doing?
Oh my god. Let's
Sorry.
get to the next subject. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, we're both, Tyler and I are both early adopters, and definitely, we're in this. I use the Macbeth quote that I'm so far in blood that to go back would be harder to go forward. So just go forward, man. Just till the end of the time. Just keep rocking. And like Tyler said, Nintendo's first party stuff is unmatched. Mario Odyssey is going to be crazy.
Do you think this is the last Nintendo console you're going to get? Okay.
Definitely not.
All right.
Nintendo has so much money that they can continue to take a loss, and I think the interest... the one thing about the Switch that I'm a little disappointed in is that they did lean a little bit too much on motion controls. I would have liked them to sway a little more towards, like, I hate the word hardcore, but the more core stuff, in a sense of, like, hey, this is the thing. You can play the game at home if you want to play it on a big TV with a little bit better resolution, or you can take it on the road. Like, hey, fuck you, play Zelda on the road. I know you want to. More than just, like, that's me eating the sub game.
Like, for me, the price value, that you're saying,
inappropriate.
There are better games for price value.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But speaking to our iPhones and mobile, Nintendo has done a wonderful job with their Super Mario Run. Fire Emblem Heroes came out by the time we're recording this, and like that, even though it's a gacha game, it's been received well. I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, like I honestly it's not a bad game, but we can talk about that later. But
yeah,
I'm still in the tutorial because I find it really boring.
Look. Send me on a one-way trip to New Donk City. That's where I want to live.
Thank you. Yes, New Donk City. That is all we need to know. That's why you pre-order a Switch, because you got that New Donk City coming up.
What happens
Alex?
if New Donk? Okay, hear me out. New Donk City, Donkey Kong has to either run that city, be the mayor, something. What happens if there's a level in that game where he steals something and goes to the top of the building, and you have to play Donkey Kong in Mario Odyssey? That would be awesome.
Yeah, okay, but instead of Donkey Kong, it's Kenny from The Walking Dead Season 2, and he actually didn't die.
He just went to New Donk. He's in witness protection. He's like, he's in witness protection in New Donk City, and then Mario just fucks it up. He's just like, hey, what are you doing? Shh.
Mario's the walker.
Did you happen to see the Simpsons comparison, where the Simpsons, was it the real life or the digital version of it?
Yeah. It's interesting, and New Donk City's different at light. The city comes to life at night, so it'll be interesting. Mario Odyssey looks incredible, and they showed like literally 2 minutes of it, so I'm all on board. They showed Daddy Bowser. I'm on board with Daddy Bowser.
Daddy Bowser
yeah. With his pin pat. The game's gonna be so stupid and so good. I was on board for Cat Bowser. I know that's a topic of controversy. Some people don't like Cat Bowser. Give me Cat Bowser.
I'm pro Cat Bowser.
Thank you, Tyler. I knew I could count on you to be pro Cat Bowser. Like,
see, we're pro Kenny, pro Cat Bowser.
How could you not be pro Kenny? Like my buddy at...
Oh, you'd have to be Alex, apparently.
My buddy at work's going through The Walking Dead right now. And he's like,
every Clementine for yourself.
But Kenny, man, he gets an eye patch in season 2. Kenny goes through such shit only to be foiled.
Only to be betrayed by Alex.
Because she couldn't try stick.
He was an asshole in the season 1. He wanted to leave you 3 times. It's like...
But then he sacrifices himself in episode 5.
Finally. I was like, he comes back in season 2. Fine.
He lost Duck.
I was going to say he loses Duck. He loses Katja. He loses his new girlfriend in season 2. He's been through a lot. And because Clementine sucks at driving stick, he dies. Savage.
It really is.
It's not my fault.
That's rough.
It really is not my fault.
I was gonna say that is kind of true. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, Kenny. I mean, even in the zombie apocalypse, you could have found an automatic car, dude.
Okay, so for our last topic, I wanted to get away from video games for a second and just talk about getting away from
anime.
Yes, we're gonna talk about why Q is the best anime of all time. No. I want to talk about getting away from social media and just taking a social media dump, because essentially, I don't. Yeah,
Wait.
I do that every day. Trust me. As soon as I tweet something, I know I just took a social media dump.
Phrasing.
So no, like, recently I've been taking a break from social media. Like, I deleted the Facebook app from my phone. I think I'm about to do the same from Twitter. Even though I love Twitter, I prefer the both platforms. But after the November election, I just kind of had to take a break because basically, even though it's still going on, even though there's still a toxic election or toxic political season, I just every time I wake up, I feel like at a certain point, you can't keep on going back to that. You have to keep on moving on. That's the only way I've kind of resorted to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is like a constant stream of negativity. And I'm not saying we can really ignore what's going on, and I don't suggest ignoring what's going on, but I think it's good for your own mental health. Like, you have to treat yourself first. So if you're getting wrapped up in that negativity,
it was kind of abusive because, like, you wake up, you're like, oh, what did Donald Trump do now? Is the end of the world,
And it's an interesting thing going back to the original topic of like social media and cleansing yourself from social media. Like
I thought you were gonna say on the topic of dumping.
It's an interesting thing because I like Twitter because it's curated to the people that I like and like who I want to seize opinions of, the industries I like. So, it's no secret that I used to coach college football. So I follow a lot of coaches and, video games, obviously. So, like I follow Adam Sessler, who used to host X Play,
G4.
and G4 fame. He doesn't do as much of video games now, but he's very politically active. He talks a lot about Donald Trump and things like that. But then the other day, he posted like an incredible like 50, 60 tweet basically Q&A of like answering video game questions, and I was super excited to see that because like Adam Sessler is somebody that I grew up with and admire in the business and stuff like that, and like I do want to see these dank memes that Tyler posts and like these video game opinions that these people that I follow post, but at the same time, they do post about the political stuff. And I think that's important because they do have a voice with their follower count. My measly 200 follower count's nothing to their, 200,000 follower count. So it is important that they do use their voice as a platform for that type of stuff. But it is an interesting balance, a delicate balance, if you will.
Speaking to Adam Sessler specifically, I like Adam, but he keeps calling Trump something really stupid.
Shit pimp,
like pimp, shit.
Shit pimp, President Shit Pimp.
Like, that's really stupid, and I don't know why.
I find it funny.
That's his moniker. Hey, man, I used to be so scared of Trump, and I still am too, in a sense, but there was a great article that came out that their staff meets in the dark because they don't know how to work the light switches. And there's a real good analogy in there somewhere that I'm just like, oh, boy. I'm like, that's rough. I mean, like, it took us 5 minutes to figure out Google Hangouts today, but I mean that's a brand new technology. Like light switches have been around forever. But yeah, it's an interesting balance. I mean, like, I'm with you, Alex. I delete the apps off my phone. I still have Twitter on my phone. I don't have Facebook, but I still use Facebook. But yeah, you just have to watch it because and you have to separate political ideology with the people. Like, a lot of people that I know, whether it's family or friends, they are Trump supporters, and just because they are that, I have to separate that from that and them as a person. I know these people as people, and they are good people. It's just that they believe this specific way, and so it's like one of those things where I guess you could do a culling, or you could delete social media, or you could just try to curate your content in a way that somebody says something, they get it unfollowed. Facebook, so I don't see it on my timeline.
I find that by curating your followers or curating who you follow, your writing style and who you write to, I find I can't really write to my own self. Like, I never writing for Pixel Enemy or writing for whoever I write for. I feel like I'm not writing for my audience. I'm writing for someone else, and that's different.
Oh yeah.
I feel like if you just stop paying attention to how many followers you have. I was obsessed at one point about getting my followers up, and I still am a little bit, but I feel like that's going away. But going to the gym and actually getting that away and using it as a stress relief has helped me a lot. But at a certain point, you have to use your own tools. You have to
I used to worry about followers. Now I worry about my
I mean,
reps, man.
Okay, maybe not like that. But like at a certain point, like you can't spend 24 hours playing video games. You have to like eventually you have to use that as a way to look forward to playing video games. That's what I've learned to do. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think
Makes
it's a
sense.
kind of a blessing and a curse that we get review copies. We get, maybe I think last year we got like 40 game review copies, and like it's cool getting that, but at a certain time you have to have a life outside of that at the same time. It's a real balance because you could easily just sit on your ass and just play it, but you have to like. I think too. I think
Tyler.
it's too much of a good thing is always. I mean, I think the quality of last year was fantastic, but like you can't play all of it.
I got worried for a brief second because on PlayStation there's a thing where on your friends list you can see their library or how many games there were, and I'm pushing like 300 something, and I thought I had a lot, and then I checked Tyler and he has like 1,000 something, and I'm looking at these games and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you playing these? What are these? And I'm like, Tyler, are you okay? I'm like, Tyler, please. I'm like, Tyler, tell me if you're
I'm not
okay.
okay, but yeah, my library's a mess, and I really wish they had better
It's-
library
well,
sorting
it's-
tools just for
Well, it's not
weirdos
made
like
for
me.
you. It's made for like.
Well,
Yeah.
and we didn't mention.
Clearly
yeah,
it's
we
not.
didn't mention in the news section, but 4.5 is coming out soon, and they support external hard drives, which is really big because you can get external hard drives for a little bit cheaper. So buy like an 8 terabyte thing and install all those.
Something
whatever games
Xbox
those
One's
were.
been doing for 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, there's just not enough games to install on Xbox One.
You kidding me?
Oh.
Better games, better online. I'd rather take the online.
Whoa! Easy there, Xbox guy. No, I mean, yeah, like I said, they both do good things. I like both those consoles. I own both those consoles.
Later, but
Yeah, and I'm excited for the Scorpio. I will say that. I mean, we're not go down that rabbit hole, but
Get over here.
I'm very fortunate to have a very good PC. So you talk teraflops. My buddy goes, "Hey, talk to me about a guy I work with." This is how he started the conversation because he knows I'm like the video game tech guy. He taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "Hey, Esposito, talk to me about teraflops." I'm like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Talk to me about teraflops." I heard about the Scorpio. It's about to have 6 teraflops. What does that mean? And I had to explain to him. I was like, "Well, my PC has 10.8, so." No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God,
yeah. That's actually what I.
That's gonna be my new pickup line on AKQ.
I want
I'm
actually.
gonna be
I actually
hey,
want that to be.
Hey, girl, talk to me about some terrible.
I want that to be
other
my
people have
epitaph.
6.
Here
I
lies
have
Andrew
8.
Esposito. Talk to me about teraflops. Yeah, it's interesting. The social media call, everything. But I will say this, getting it back to a positive light, there's never been a better time to play video games or watch 3 attractively handsome men talk about vpdaily.com and everything related to video games.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Tyler, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Tyler Treese, and I'll post some selfies so you can see my non-receding hairline.
And Andrew, where's your hair at?
Stress. Nioh's a hard game, guys. I'm losing it. This is for another. The evolution of Andrew's hairline can be for another thing. I learned something today at work. Speaking about work, one of my coworkers, I was talking to him about my hair, and I was like, "Yeah, man." And he goes, "You're about to go home?" And I go, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "Go home, man. That's what they call it." I go, "What is that?" He goes, "Shave it all off. Just go bald." I'm like, "Go home? Is that what it means?" He's like, "Yeah, man. Just go home." I'm like, "Okay, sure. Let's go home, son."
That's
but-
the true
That's
meaning
why.
of go
That's why
home.
ET didn't have any hair.
Yeah. Yes. So you can find me on. You can find me on. You can find me on Twitter at ASFazito426 for however long I have it left before I delete it. Also check out Point Taken episode 34, where Tyler, Steven, and I talk about Resident Evil 7, a game that also recently came out. 2017, yeah, that's where we are. Has already been a great year for games. Yeah, give that a listen.
You can find me on Twitter at Al Martinet. You can also read all of our stuff at VP Daily. Yeah.
Is your pen a bullet?
Yeah. It's a USB drive.
A bullet USB drive.
Man, that thug life.
I got this one.
2017.
This is actually a Medal of Honor thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. 2017, boys.
Yeah. Remember
us
when
out,
Medal
Alex.
of Honor was supposed to be the next B tier for Battlefield? Those days.
Tier 1, boys. Tier 1. Tier 1.
Anyways, you can follow me at Al Martinet on Twitter. You can also, if you're on SoundCloud, please follow us. But we are every Friday, new episodes. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week. See ya.